Hi, I'm Linda with Eclectic Products, and I'm going to show you how Glaze Coat epoxy resin and some imagination transformed an ordinary table into this child's fun center. This project requires no special tools or products besides your imagination, a quart of glaze coat, and things you probably already have at home. If you can bake a cake, you can make this table. The secret's in the measuring and mixing, and reading the directions. So let's get started. First, gather the supplies you need: game board, pictures, flashcards, or your own designs. Photocopy them on heavy paper and spray with acrylic or laminate them to prevent color bleed through. White glue, stir sticks, plastic spreader, disposable brush, masking tape, carpenter's level, hairdryer or handheld torch, plastic film and drop cloths, a timer. And most important, for proper measuring and mixing, 3 or more unwaxed paper or plastic mixing containers. Make sure they have clearly marked volume measurements and clean, smooth walls. Look for these at a paint store or home improvement store. Okay, let's get the table ready. First, make sure the tabletop is dry and free from dirt and dust. Clean is the key to beautiful, crystal clear results. Now you're going to brush the backs of your photocopied and sealed decorations with white glue and press them into place. Make sure all the edges are glued down, and then gently wipe the tops with a clean towel to remove any excess glue. Let them dry completely. Here's a good trick. Apply masking tape to the underside of the table flush with the edge to prevent drips from forming underneath. Finally, use your carpenter's level to make sure the tabletop is perfectly level. Now you're ready to mix the glaze coat resin and hardener together to create your game table. You want to mix only as much product as you can pour and spread at one time. This table, for example, is 3 by 4, so I used a quart-size kit. This will coat the table with 1/8 of an inch of the product. The 2 keys for success in this process are to measure exactly and mix thoroughly. Let's begin. First, pour equal parts each of side A resin and side B hardener into separate, clean, unwaxed disposable paper or plastic mixing containers. Now, pour the carefully measured resin side A into the container with measured hardener side B and thoroughly mix for 2 minutes. Here are some mixing tips. Make sure to time your mixing. Don't try to guess. Mix in small batches. I recommend folding the mixture into the center using steady revolutions while scraping the sides and bottom with your stir stick. This will help prevent excess air bubbles in the mixture. Don't use power-driven mixing devices. Pour resin and hardener mix into a clean, unused mixing container and thoroughly mix for an additional 2 minutes. Now here's the fun part. Immediately pour the glaze coat mixture in the center of the table. You only have about 20 to 25 minutes working time before the glaze coat sets up. Using a plastic spreader, quickly spread the mixture evenly from the center to the edges of the table. Avoid respreading the mixture because glaze coat will level itself as it cures. Don't worry if a little drips over. Once the top of the table is coated, you'll brush the sides with additional glaze coat and smooth out any drips. Here's a great trick for getting a perfect result. After this first pour, any air bubbles created during the mixing must be removed when the surface is still wet. Hold a hairdryer or a small propane torch about 6 to 8 inches above the surface and move it in a waving motion so that the surface is only slightly warmed. The bubbles will rise to the surface and disappear. Be sure to let this first coat dry at least 10 hours in a warm, clean area under a plastic canopy to keep the dust from settling on the surface. I just arranged chairs backwards around the table and taped the edges of the dust cover to the chair backs for a perfect tint. After the table is dry, sand the surface area with a fine grit paper such as 400 or 600 and wipe it well with a little acetone or denatured alcohol on a lint-free cloth. Now mix up another batch of glaze coat and pour the second coat using the same techniques and arranging the dust cover again. The project should be fully cured in 72 hours. Finally, remove the tape and sand or scrape off any remaining drips. Let the fun begin. This is just one of the hundreds of beautiful projects you can create with glaze coat. Remember, read the directions, measure carefully, time your mixing, and let your imagination soar.